Have you ever found that as the years go by, your energy feels a little more precious, a little harder to come by? It's a feeling many of us share as we journey through this wonderful chapter of life we call old age. We've accumulated so much wisdom, so many experiences, and hopefully, a few well-deserved wrinkles that tell our story. But with this stage of life also comes a heightened awareness of how we spend our time and with whom we choose to spend it. Think about it for a moment. Your energy isn't limitless anymore, is it? You want to invest it wisely, in things and people that bring you joy, peace, and a sense of fulfillment. You've earned that, haven't you? You've spent decades nurturing relationships, giving your time and energy to others. Now, it's more important than ever to prioritize your well-being and surround yourself with positivity. That's what we're going to talk about today. It might sound a little unconventional, perhaps even a bit uncomfortable, but it's a conversation that I believe is incredibly important for your happiness and peace of mind in your golden years. We're going to delve into the topic of who you might need to create a little distance from as you navigate this stage of life. And yes, this might even include some members of your own family. Now, before anyone feels a pang of guilt or confusion, let me reassure you. This isn't about being unkind or unloving. It's about being smart. It's about being protective of your precious energy and your emotional well-being. Just like you wouldn't knowingly eat food that makes you sick, you also need to be mindful of the people in your life and the impact they have on you. Think of it like tending a beautiful garden. You nurture the plants that bring beauty and life, but you also have to carefully remove any weeds that might choke out the good growth. Sometimes, even if those weeds look familiar or have been there for a long time, they can still be harmful to the overall health of your garden. Our relationships can be similar. In this video, we're going to explore 5 types of people that you might need to create some healthy boundaries with as you get older. These are individuals who, often unintentionally, can drain your energy, create unnecessary stress, or hinder your enjoyment of this precious time of life. We'll talk about why their behavior can be detrimental and, most importantly, how you can navigate these situations with grace and self-respect. This isn't about cutting people out of your life entirely in every situation. Sometimes, it's about adjusting the level of interaction, setting clear boundaries, and learning how to protect your own peace. Remember, taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's essential for your overall well-being and allows you to show up as your best self in all your relationships. So, let's embark on this important conversation together. Grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and let's explore these 5 types of people you might need to avoid, even if they are family, to ensure your golden years are truly golden. The first type of person we need to be mindful of is what I like to call the constant critic. You know the type, don't you? They always have an opinion, and it's rarely a positive one. No matter what you do, what you say, or what you're excited about, they seem to find a fault, a flaw, or a reason why it's not good enough. Perhaps you share a new hobby you've taken up, something that brings you joy and a sense of accomplishment. Instead of offering encouragement, the constant critic might say something like, "That seems a bit late in life to be starting that, don't you think?" Or, "Be careful you don't hurt yourself at your age." Maybe you share some good news, a small victory or something you're proud of. The constant critic might respond with a lukewarm "Oh, that's nice, but did you hear about what someone else did?" Or they might immediately point out a potential downside or problem. These constant criticisms, even if they seem small and insignificant on their own, can chip away at your self-esteem and your enthusiasm for life. Over time, they can leave you feeling deflated, discouraged, and even hesitant to share your joys and experiences. Why is this particularly important to be aware of in old age? Well, at this stage of life, many of us are navigating changes, perhaps dealing with health challenges, and it's crucial to surround ourselves with people who lift us up, who encourage us, and who celebrate our efforts, no matter how small they might seem to others. How can you identify a constant critic in your life? Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with them. Do you feel energized and positive, or do you feel drained, discouraged, or like you've been put down? Do their comments tend to focus on the negative, highlighting what's wrong rather than acknowledging what's right? Now, what can you do if you identify a constant critic in your life, especially if this person is family? It's important to remember that you can't change their fundamental personality, but you can change how you interact with them. One strategy is to limit the amount of information you share with them. If you know they tend to be critical of a particular aspect of your life, you might choose not to bring it up in conversation. You can steer the conversation towards neutral topics or keep interactions brief. Another approach is to set boundaries. If they offer a critical remark, you can politely but firmly say something like, "I appreciate your perspective, but I'm really enjoying this." Or, "I'm proud of this accomplishment, and I'd prefer to focus on the positive." You don't need to get into an argument or defend yourself. Simply state your boundary and move on. It's also important to surround yourself with people who are genuinely supportive and encouraging. Make an effort to spend more time with those who make you feel good about yourself and your life. Their positivity can help to counteract the negative impact of the constant critic. Remember, protecting your emotional well-being is paramount. You deserve to spend your time with people who uplift you and celebrate your journey. Creating a little distance from constant critics, even if they are family, can be a significant step towards a happier and more peaceful life. The second type of person you might need to avoid is the energy vampire. Now, this isn't about someone who literally sucks your energy, of course, but rather someone whose presence leaves you feeling completely drained and exhausted after an interaction. Energy vampires come in many forms. They might be the person who constantly talks about their problems without ever seeking solutions, leaving you feeling like you've just listened to an endless monologue of negativity. They might be the drama magnet, the one who always has some crisis going on and draws you into their whirlwind of chaos. Or they could be the overly needy person who constantly demands your time and attention, leaving you feeling overwhelmed and depleted. Think about someone in your life who, after you spend time with them, you feel like you need a long nap. Do you find yourself mentally preparing for interactions with them, bracing yourself for negativity or demands? These could be signs that you're dealing with an energy vampire. Why are energy vampires particularly draining in old age? As we mentioned earlier, our energy levels can naturally decrease as we get older. Spending that precious energy on someone who constantly depletes it can leave you with less energy for the things you enjoy and for your own well-being. It can also lead to feelings of resentment and frustration. How can you identify an energy vampire? Consider how you feel during and after your interactions. Do you feel emotionally exhausted? Do you find yourself constantly trying to solve their problems or soothe their anxieties? Do they tend to dominate conversations and rarely ask about you or listen when you talk? Dealing with energy vampires, especially if they are family, can be challenging. You might feel a sense of obligation or guilt about creating distance. However, it's crucial to prioritize your own well-being. One effective strategy is to limit the duration of your interactions. If you know a phone call with a certain person tends to drag on and leave you feeling drained, set a time limit for yourself beforehand and politely end the conversation when that time is up. You could say something like, "It's been lovely catching up, but I need to get going now." Another important step is to learn to say no to their demands on your time and energy. You don't have to be available for them constantly or solve all their problems. It's okay to prioritize your own needs and activities. You can politely decline requests by saying something like, "Thank you for asking, but I won't be able to do that right now." Or, "I'm not in a position to help with that at the moment." It's also helpful to establish boundaries during conversations. If they start to launch into a lengthy monologue of negativity, you can gently interrupt and steer the conversation towards a more positive or neutral topic. You could say something like, "That sounds difficult. On a different note, I was thinking about..." Remember, you are not responsible for managing someone else's emotions or solving all their problems. It's okay to create healthy boundaries to protect your own energy and well-being. Spending your precious time and energy with people who uplift you and leave you feeling positive is essential for a fulfilling life. The third type of person to be cautious of is the manipulator. This is someone who tries to control your decisions or actions through subtle or not-so-subtle tactics. They might use guilt trips, emotional blackmail, or play the victim to get their way. Think about someone in your life who always seems to make you feel guilty for not doing what they want. They might say things like, "After all I've done for you," or "If you really loved me, you would." These are classic manipulation tactics designed to make you feel obligated to their wishes, even if it goes against your own needs or desires. Manipulators can also use flattery or charm to get what they want, only to disregard your feelings or needs once they've achieved their goal. They might make you feel special and important in one moment, only to make you feel insignificant or guilty in the next. Why are manipulators particularly harmful in old age? At this stage of life, you deserve to have autonomy and control over your own decisions. Being manipulated can lead to feelings of powerlessness, resentment, and even isolation if the manipulator tries to turn you against others. It can also lead to making choices that are not in your best interest, simply to avoid their negative reactions. How can you identify a manipulator? Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with them. Do you often feel guilty, confused, or like you've been pressured into doing something you didn't want to do? Do they tend to disregard your boundaries or try to make you feel responsible for their feelings? Do they use emotional tactics to influence your decisions? Dealing with manipulators, especially within the family, can be very difficult because of the emotional ties and history involved. However, it's crucial to recognize these patterns of behavior and take steps to protect yourself. One of the most important things you can do is to learn to recognize their manipulation tactics. Once you're aware of what they're doing, it becomes easier to resist their influence. You can start to see their guilt trips or emotional blackmail for what they are, attempts to control you. Another crucial step is to set firm boundaries and stick to them. When they try to manipulate you, calmly and clearly state your position without getting drawn into an argument or trying to justify yourself excessively. You can say something like, "I understand what you're asking, but my decision is no." Or, "I'm not comfortable with that." It's also important to trust your own instincts. If something feels wrong or makes you uncomfortable, even if you can't quite put your finger on why, it's okay to say no and prioritize your own feelings. You don't need to explain yourself endlessly or give in to pressure. Surrounding yourself with supportive and honest people can also help. Talking to a trusted friend or family member about the situation can provide you with perspective and validation. They can help you see the manipulation for what it is and offer support in setting boundaries. Remember, you have the right to make your own choices and live your life on your own terms, especially at this stage. Don't let anyone, even family, manipulate you into doing things that are not in your best interest or that make you feel unhappy or uncomfortable. Protecting your autonomy and well-being is essential. The fourth type of person to be wary of is the dismissive one. This is someone who consistently downplays your feelings, experiences, or opinions. They might brush off your concerns, minimize your achievements, or make you feel like your thoughts and feelings don't matter. Perhaps you share a worry or a concern with them, and they respond with something like, "Oh, don't worry about that. It's not a big deal." Or maybe you talk about something you're proud of, and they say, "That's nice, but it's not really that impressive, is it?" Dismissive people can make you feel invisible, unheard, and unimportant. Over time, this can erode your self-worth and lead to feelings of isolation and sadness. You might start to doubt your own perceptions and hesitate to share your thoughts and feelings with them. Why is this particularly damaging in old age? At this stage of life, feeling valued and heard is incredibly important for our emotional well-being. We want to know that our experiences and perspectives are respected. Having someone consistently dismissive in your life can undermine this sense of value and lead to feelings of loneliness and insignificance. How can you identify a dismissive person? Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with them. Do you feel like your concerns were brushed aside? Do you feel like your achievements were minimized? Do they tend to interrupt you or change the subject when you're talking about something important to you? Dealing with dismissive behavior, especially from family members, can be hurtful. You might feel like your feelings are not being validated by the people who should care about you the most. One approach is to try to communicate how their behavior makes you feel. In a calm and direct way, you can say something like, "When you say things like that, it makes me feel like my concerns aren't important to you." Or, "I was really proud of that, and your comment made me feel a bit deflated." Sometimes, the person might not even realize the impact of their words. However, if the dismissive behavior continues despite your attempts to communicate, it might be necessary to create some emotional distance. You can choose to share less personal information with them or limit the amount of time you spend in their company. It's also important to actively seek out relationships with people who are genuinely good listeners and who validate your feelings and experiences. Surround yourself with people who make you feel seen, heard, and valued. Their support and understanding can help to counteract the negative effects of the dismissive person in your life. Remember, your feelings and experiences are valid and important, regardless of what anyone else might say. You deserve to be treated with respect and to have your voice heard. If someone consistently dismisses your thoughts and feelings, it's okay to create some distance to protect your emotional well-being. Finally, the fifth type of person you might need to avoid in old age is the one who refuses to respect your boundaries. As we navigate this stage of life, our needs and limitations might change. We might need more rest, have specific health requirements, or simply desire more peace and quiet. It's crucial to be able to set boundaries to protect our well-being. However, There are some people who consistently disregard these boundaries, whether intentionally or unintentionally. They might drop by unannounced, call at inconvenient times, or pressure you into doing things you're not comfortable with. Perhaps you've told a family member that you need to take it easy due to a health condition, but they still expect you to participate in strenuous activities or run errands for them. Or maybe you've expressed that you need your evenings to relax, but they continue to call late at night. When people consistently disrespect your boundaries, it can lead to feelings of stress, frustration, and even resentment. It can make it difficult to prioritize your own needs and take care of yourself properly. Why is respecting boundaries so important in old age? As we get older, our physical and emotional reserves might be more limited. Having our boundaries consistently crossed can lead to exhaustion, increased stress levels, and a decline in overall well-being. It's essential to have our limits respected so that we can maintain our health and enjoy our lives. How can you identify someone who doesn't respect your boundaries? Do they frequently ignore your requests or preferences? Do they try to pressure you into doing things you've said no to? Do they disregard your need for rest or personal space? Dealing with someone who doesn't respect your boundaries requires clear and consistent communication. You need to clearly state your boundaries and the reasons behind them. For example, you might say, "I need to rest in the afternoons for my health, so I won't be able to have visitors then." Or, "I prefer not to take phone calls after 8 p.m., as I like to wind down for the night." It's important to be firm and assertive when setting boundaries, without feeling the need to apologize excessively or justify yourself endlessly. You have the right to protect your time, energy, and well-being. What if the person continues to disregard your boundaries even after you've clearly communicated them? In this situation, it might be necessary to create more significant distance. This could mean limiting contact, ending conversations when your boundaries are being crossed, or even seeking help from other family members or friends to reinforce your boundaries. It's important to remember that setting boundaries is not selfish, it's a necessary part of self-care. You have the right to decide how you spend your time and energy, and you deserve to have those decisions respected. If someone consistently fails to respect your boundaries, it's okay to prioritize your own well-being and create the space you need to thrive. So, we've talked about 5 types of people you might need to create some healthy distance from as you navigate your golden years. The constant critic, the energy vampire, the manipulator, the dismissive one, and the one who refuses to respect your boundaries. Remember, this isn't about being unkind or cutting people out of your life without thought. It's about being mindful of who you spend your precious time and energy with and ensuring that those relationships contribute positively to your well-being. It's also important to remember that sometimes, people's behavior isn't intentionally harmful. They might be unaware of the impact of their words or actions. In these cases, open and honest communication can sometimes lead to positive changes. However, if the behavior persists despite your efforts to communicate, it's crucial to prioritize your own needs. You've earned this time in your life to enjoy the fruits of your labor, to pursue your passions, and to surround yourself with people who bring you joy and support. Don't let anyone, even family, steal that from you. Take some time to reflect on the relationships in your life. Are there any individuals who consistently leave you feeling drained, discouraged, manipulated, dismissed, or whose lack of respect for your boundaries causes you stress? If so, consider what steps you can take to create a healthier dynamic, whether it's setting clearer boundaries, limiting interaction, or focusing your energy on more positive relationships. This is your time to shine, to embrace the wisdom and experiences you've gained, and to live each day to the fullest. Surround yourself with love, laughter, and respect, and don't hesitate to create the space you need to nurture your own well-being. I would love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Have you ever had to navigate challenging relationships in your later years? What strategies have you found helpful in setting boundaries and protecting your peace? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your insights could be incredibly helpful to others in our community. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more content designed to support and empower you in your golden years. We're here to help you live your best life at any age. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember, you are valuable, you are worthy of respect, and you deserve to be surrounded by positivity. Here's to a happy, healthy, and fulfilling chapter of your life.